Well, folks, welcome again to Coffee or Espresso with Job. I wonder if you ever had a supernatural experience and what we mean by that. This chapter, Eliphaz speaking in chapter 4, verse 12, listen to what he says here. A word was secretly brought to me, my ears caught a whisper of it. Amid disquieting dreams in the night, when deep sleep falls on people, fear and trembling seized me and made all my bones shake. A spirit glided past my face, and the hair of my body stood on my end. I heard a hushed voice, can a mortal be more righteous than God? And so on. It really is, I don't know, it's quite an extraordinary experience. When someone comes to you and says, I had this experience, so I'm telling you what to do because I had this experience, it can be quite disturbing. I had a dream about you, or the Lord gave me this prophecy about you, or God told me. You know, how do you argue with someone who says God told them? You know the story, of course, about Spurgeon, that a man came to him and said, Mr. Spurgeon, the Lord has told me I have to preach in your church on Sunday. And the Spurgeon said, well, that's great. When he tells me, I'll let you. So here's this man, and he's using his spiritual experience, and I think sometimes people do that. Your experience is for you. I would say it's very rare, if at all, that you can come and on the basis of what has happened to you, bring an authoritative word from God, unless it's from his word. His hair stood on end. That's what's called piloerection. It's a well-known experience. It's very spooky. Now, you need to be very careful of your own subjective experiences. I have had some weird dreams, but I would say in my life, I've had 3 experiences that are similar to this in the sense of a consciousness of evil, particularly. Now, I'm not going to talk about them because they were very, I mean, what's the point? They were very personal to me, but I do believe that they can happen. And I do believe when we talk about spiritual experience, we need to remember the devil can give us spiritual experience as well. He can come as an angel of light, or he can give us that consciousness of evil. There's a wonderful book by James Robertson called The Testimony of Gideon Mack. And this is where a minister meets the devil. Now, James Robertson's not a Christian. In fact, I went to hear him at a bookshop in Dundee. And this woman stood up and she asked this amazing question. She said, I know you're an atheist, but you don't believe in God, and so on. But do you believe in the devil? Because she said, did the devil really speak to Gideon Mack? Now, this is a novel, but he writes so well that he gave you that sense of the devil. And I was amused at his answer. He said, I kind of don't believe in God, but I'm a Presbyterian atheist. I'm always looking over my shoulder to see if he's there. And I think sometimes these kind of experiences can really, really unsettle us. Now, what's the result of all this? The revelation itself, for what it was very ordinary. Sometimes I hear people say, I got a word from the Lord, and they'll tell you something that's really just out of Isaiah. But the revelation here was, can a mortal be more righteous than God? Well, the answer is, of course, no. Job didn't think that, though. Like so many revelations, it was a truism. Behold, lo, I am the Lord, I am with you, and so on. It wasn't relevant to the current situation. I love the bit, the fragility of man in just at the end there. Between dawn and dusk, they're broken to pieces. Unnoticed, they perish forever. Are not the cords of their tent pulled up so that they die without wisdom? I'd not long been a Christian, and 4 of us, 3 of my friends who weren't Christians, myself, we went camping across the west coast of Scotland. And they were teasing me about my Christianity. And we were in the middle of a storm, and we were going around banging out the tent pegs and, you know, just lying, hoping we'd get through the night. And I happened to be reading, and I read these verses, and I read them out loud, and they totally freaked out. They jumped out their tent, and you say, oh, no, God's going to get us, God's going to get us. And I thought you guys didn't believe in God. I thought you guys were atheists. Look, the point about this, that was, by the way, you could say misuse of Scripture. The point about this is, the cords of the tent pulled up is a euphemism for death. Eliphaz's premise was correct about God being just and so on. But the conclusion, your suffering is deserved, was wrong. And I think we need to be very careful of people who come with spirituality, spiritual dreams and so on, and they interpret them in such a way that the conclusions go against what Scripture really says. All right, see you tomorrow.